Hi everyone, my name is Sahana Dama. Welcome to our Humanity Rising What Cause Inspires You podcast series. Our WCIY podcasts are student-led and feature outstanding young changemakers who are creating a more compassionate and better world through service. We hope that by listening to our podcast, you'll be able to connect with our guests to help further their causes or be inspired to make a difference in another cause that you are passionate about. By listening to our podcast, you are also eligible for service learning hours and Humanity Rising Service scholarships. Please be sure to join our group on interviews so you can easily find our many events and track your hours. Today, I'm here with Tane Kim. Hi, Tane. How are
Hi,
you?
good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a current junior living in the suburbs of New York in this small town called Irvington. And in my free time, I'm pursuing some of my passion projects in addition to playing sports and just living the life of just a typical high school. I play football, I do track, um, and I also play competitive table tennis. And in my free time, I probably my main artistic passion is to write poetry. That's what got me into all of the activities that I'm currently pursuing. And I discovered poetry and like around the eighth grade during the coronavirus pandemic. And since then, I've just been really hooked. I love to write like free verse poetry about a variety of topics. And I've gotten the opportunity to be published, to be a part of some literary magazines. So that's what I'll basically be talking about today. Yeah.
Really great. So, why do you enjoy writing poetry, or just writing in general?
I think I the main reason why I enjoy it is just because I think that creative expression in any sort of form is really important for especially all young people because it's actually been proven that the younger you are, the more keen you are to creativity. And so I think that all young people, there needs to be more of an emphasis on creative expression and on art of any form, even in, school systems and in day-to-day life. And for me, creative writing was just like the first, I guess, medium of art that I was introduced to. So I just ended up like pursuing it from when I was pretty young, around in middle school. So I was just lucky enough to be exposed to that young. But I think in general, yeah, just an artistic expression of yourself is really important to like relieve stress, to like figure out who you are, I guess, and your identity. And yeah, also just to kind of get your thoughts out there on paper because like when you're growing up, I feel like you may have a lot of thoughts and ideas that you hold in and that might like become a burden to a lot of people, but writing or art allows you to just pour it out on the paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, you mentioned previously you were part of literary magazines. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so the two magazines that I'm currently a part of are the Incandescent, which is a really broad arts organization that has four main branches. So we have a micro grant in which we give grants to rising creative projects worldwide. We have a magazine that we publish quarterly that receives submissions and readers from 111 countries throughout the world. We have a summer camp in which it's a very unique summer camp in that we basically invite accomplished high school mentors to act as teachers to middle school writers. And it's the only program of its kind. Um, and then our final branch is also a branch that I founded and that we've currently been working on called the International. So currently we only have two kind of sponsored countries in Singapore and Hong Kong. Sorry, two sponsor cities, but we're working to grow that worldwide. And it's kind of like an international gallery of art and writing. So yeah, the Incandescent is, I'd say, probably the biggest organization that I'm a part of. And I became the CEO and editor-in-chief of that around May of 2023, I think. And since then, I've just been working to expand the branches, um, and kind of diversify like the ways in which the incandescent can impact the youth. And then last summer, I also kind of branched out myself and started a literary magazine known as The Stirling Review. And that's kind of like more focused on the magazine part of things. And we're really focused on putting out high quality issues every 3 months, featuring just the most talented rising youth voices in the world. And yeah, that's also just like, I mean, the Stirling Review is really just like, I guess in a way like my baby. It's something I care about a lot, because I founded it with my close friends that I met in the summer. And like this summer when I went to another writing camp, I recruited kids to the Sterling Review as well. So it's really like a project between me and my writing friends, and we've managed to grow it to a pretty huge scale. So yeah.
That's really impressive and very, very cool. What was your motivation behind founding the Sterling Review? I know you mentioned you started it with friends at writing camp, right?
Yeah.
What was your motivation behind you and your friends' decision to start this?
Well, actually my friend last summer, his name is Michael Liu. He reached out to me first about just like, I think over Snapchat. He was just like, "Do you want to found some sort of magazine together?" He wasn't really sure like how to go about it, and but he knew that I was already serving on the Incandescent and everything. So he reached out to me. We were really close friends. And the main, I guess, community of writers that we knew at the time were just the other kids that we met at writing camp. So we were just like, hey, we formed really close bonds with these kids. So and I'm sure that they know other kids who would like to join. So why don't we, reach out to the network that we already have? And so we ended up doing that, and a lot of kids were really interested because the Sterling is actually um the restaurant that we all met in. There's a restaurant at the Sewanee Young Writers Conference, which is where we all met, called Sterling's. So that's where we like spent most of our days when we were at the program. So that's why we named it the Sterling Review. Um, and yeah, it was really I personally wanted to get involved because I felt like the incandescent, when you're working for the incandescent, there's not really much of a chance to focus on like the publication process itself and putting out 4 issues in a year because there's so many other projects that we're constantly pursuing. Um, and also, there's not a chance to really get what it feels like to go through the whole entire publication process. Since as an editor, you're really only in charge of like one step at a time, whether it's judging submissions or helping to make the issue. But through the Sterling Review, I was able to kind of be able to manage that entire process and to put out an issue like I truly wanted to see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Again, I also love to write, so this is fascinating hearing all
Mhm.
the work you're doing for other youth to also experience the joys of writing. So, what was the biggest challenge you faced while founding the Sterling Review?
Um, I'd probably have to say just like soliciting for submissions in general, because as a youth, especially for a first issue, like as a budding magazine, it's really hard to get submitters to submit to your issue because you have no credibility, no issues to back up like the legitimacy of your organization. At first, you're basically just telling your friends and family to submit. Um, but then after that first issue, I'd say things definitely got easier because we really worked hard to make the first issue as aesthetic and kind of legit as possible. So and it worked out. So after that first issue, we didn't even have to solicit at all. Submissions just started flowing in, and we could really just focus on what we love the most, which is judging submissions and like posting on social media, posting TikToks, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sweet. And what was the most rewarding moment of kind of I started this whole process, whether this being the Incandescent Review or the Sterling Review or both, just kind of leading both those
Hmm.
organizations?
I'd say that it's actually right now because um I've always wanted to do this, and recently we've been setting up an event that I've kind of been envisioning for a long time. We're like only in the beginning stages of it, but basically in the Stirling Review, I wanted to, because like I knew um I had these connections both in the Stirling Review and in the Incandescent. I wanted to make a project that involved those two collaborating and involved bringing in other like really large youth magazines and kind of making like a massive event with that. And I didn't really know where to go, but um basically after discussing it with the Stirling Review team, we decided to host a contest. So we've been setting this up since like early summertime, and basically what we've been working on is reaching out to established authors and judges and some really famous guest judges to come judge for our contest. And we've also been reaching out to other large youth literary magazines in the sphere to come partner with us in this end of year contest. And what we've done so far is we've gotten all of our judges settled, and we've gotten a team of, I'd say, eight of the largest youth literary magazines in the industry, and we're hosting this contest around January to February, where we're going to be collecting like submissions all around um, the youth literary world, and we're also partnering with Humanity Rising for a special scholarship opportunity for anti-bullying centered works. And this is definitely like the most fulfilling part of my journey so far, because it's kind of like bringing everything together, you know. And um, I don't know, like ever since like when I was young, I wanted to start like some sort of event. I've worked on various like contests and film festivals within the Incandescent, but I've always wanted to do something to bring a lot of magazines together. And yeah, it took a lot of like deliberate planning, but just to see like all these magazines come together and to work towards a common cause, it's definitely been super fulfilling. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. On behalf of Humanity Rising, we're so happy to be partnering with you for this. We're also really, really
Yeah.
excited for the impact that we hope to make. And so you've obviously accomplished a lot within all these organizations. So do you have any advice for youth trying to create a similar impact, whether it be within writing or any other field that they're passionate about?
Yeah, I'd just say like, hmm, the most important thing is just to find your passion first.
Mhm.
So for me, my passion for creative writing was something I was introduced to at a young age and that I was lucky enough to be introduced to. So for any like super, even like if you're in high school, you're still young, you know. So definitely try to dive as deep into your artistic or your special passion as you can, because ultimately that passion is, and that like special interest in one field is what leads you to the opportunities that come with that field. So for example, whether you're in computer science or some other form of art, or maybe like business science, anything like that, if you're interested in it, then dive deep. um because there's always like organizations and a network of like-minded students, whether it be like your passion can even be something like community service or volunteerism or things like that. There's always like-minded people who are willing to work with you and who you can like kind of work off of to create major impact. So like I'd say step one is definitely finding your passion, and then from there, like you can really decide what you want to do with it, because like some, I guess, more extroverted people, the advice that I would give to them is to utilize like all the resources available to you in this current era. Like there's so many forums and programs that are available for you to connect with other like-minded people. And to those extroverted people, I definitely recommend founding some sort of organization or trying to make an impact in your field. Because again, there's just so many resources available to you nowadays to get involved and to create a project of your own. Um, and again, connections are probably the most important part of that. And then I guess if you're kind of less outgoing and like you don't feel really confident in leading your own organization, there's tons of, I guess, like other organizations that you can become a part of, like Humanity Rising and um just like a lot of opportunities if you just do your research and plan in advance. And that's like another tip that I give. Planning in advance is super important. What I did during the coronavirus pandemic is I haven't told anyone this, but I literally like wrote down my goals for the coming years, and I didn't know like what I would be doing at the time, but I just wrote down a list of like pretty vague goals, and I've tried to stick to them to this day. And I guess any sort of planning like that really helps because especially like the more specific it is and the more like timeline oriented it is, it really helps. And also if you have like fail safes and backups kind of embedded into that plan, like if this doesn't work, I'll do this. Just like go in a Google Doc and write it down somewhere because um planning in advance, I feel like gives you such a big advantage when hardships come your way because you'll just be so much more prepared than others around you because you'll have other backups in place and you'll have a bigger vision always in mind, even if like things don't go your way. So yeah, the the passion, planning, and like the willingness to start your own organizations with like the people you meet, those three are definitely the key things. Yeah.
That was really inspirational. I kind of want to start my own organization right now. But that was great. Thank you so much. But how can our viewers get in contact with either the Stirling Review or the Incandescent?
Yeah, I think our websites are pretty available. So if I mean, I definitely suggest any writers out there to consider submitting to the Rising Voices Awards. We all posted about it on our Instagrams this week. So yeah, if you guys want to submit to that, definitely feel free. But um, if you want to join the masthead or just want to get into contact, our like all of our contact pages are linked on our websites. So yeah, I'm I think the Stirling Review is just the sterlingreview.com and the Incandescent is the incandescent.org. So definitely feel free to reach out. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. And thank you for joining the podcast. And thank you to our viewers for listening to this episode of Humanity Rising's What Cause Inspires You. I hope that you were inspired by hearing Tane's story. If you would like to connect with Tane to learn more about what you can do in your community or to get in contact with his organizations, you can find his email linked down below. Please remember to complete the survey and let us know your feedback so we can make these podcasts most impactful for you. You can also watch our many past podcasts and find our many new events by joining our group on Interview. Remember to share your service story with us at any time to be featured as a guest or to be eligible for Humanity Rising Service Scholarship. Together, we will change the world. Thank you so much again and have a great day, everyone.